Hello friends, welcome to our Rockstar Virat Power YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to learn about Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And if you have not seen our previous video on William Wordsworth, please first see that video so that you can understand this video carefully and you can see the various points regarding this Samuel Taylor Coleridge are important for the SET-NET exam preparation and PET exam preparation. And this period is of romantic age. Now in this, like, Samuel Taylor is an English poet and literary critic. Like Samuel Taylor Coleridge, it is also called as E.S.T. Coleridge, and he was born in Otte at E.S.T. Mary, Devon, Great Britain, and in 1772. He was the son of Minister John Coleridge and Annie Bowden. Coleridge's father died when he was only 9. After this, Coleridge was educated at Christ Hospital and Jesus College, Cambridge, with the intention of becoming a church minister. In 1793, Coleridge got enlisted in 15th Light of Dragoons as a Silas Tomkin, Cambridge, but his brother got him discharged by reason of insanity. He then returned to the Cambridge but left his studies again in 1794. Without degree to tour Wales, he tour Wales, and then what happens? Coleridge met Robert Southey. There, Coleridge met Robert Southey and Robert Southey in Bristol in 1794, and in revolutionaries, without degenerating into the violence of the terror, to community to be called as Pantisocracy and to be established in the New World at Sequenfena River in Pennsylvania. Then in 1795, what happened? In 1795, Coleridge and Robert Southey married two sisters, Sarah and Edith Flicker. He earned a living as Unitarian preacher for a short time while remaining in an incompatible marriage, and began to focus seriously his love in writing. He was fond of writing. He has a hobby in writing. That's why he was focusing on writing, so that he can enjoy his life. His first volume of poetry was Poem of Various Subjects, was published in 1796. It was during this time that he also began to an intimate friendship with Wordsworth. His friendship with Wordsworth gives us a notable work in English literature. And with the William Wordsworth and Dorothy. Collaboration with Wordsworth, he produced lyrical ballads, which we learned in our previous video. And Coleridge joined the Wordsworth, who were staying at the Hutchinson farm and in Durham. There he fell in love with Sarah's sister, Wordsworth Finney, and Mary Hutchinson. Sarah appears in Coleridge journal. Sarah appears in which? The Coleridge journals, and in that he founds about sister of Wordsworth, Finney, Mary Hutchinson, and he spent the early years of 1800 touring Scotland, Wales, and Italy. He also got addicted to an opium around his time. He got addicted to around an opium for this time, which enhanced it affects on his literary career also. Around 1807, Coleridge arranged a separation from his wife Sarah. He gradually became estranged, and Wordsworth, who disapproved of the irresponsible way in which handled his family obligation, and was also rejected by Sarah Hutchinson. Then once again he got divorced from his wife. In 1817, he published his work that is called as Biographia Literaria. We are going to learn about that work also. That is important work, and it contains the finest literary criticism. He continued to publish the poetry and prose. Notable Sibley Leaves in 1870, Aids to Reflection in 1825, and various important works are there. He died in 25th July 1834, age of 6, and Highgate, mid 6, United Kingdom of Great Britain in Ireland. And his occupation is a poet, critic and philosopher, and he write in alma mater that Jesus College of Cambridge. Now see in our next video, in our next slide, literary movement. It is in romanticism, and notable works written by him: The Rime of then Ancient, Mariner, Kubla Khan, then Christabel, Conversation of Poem, Biographia Literaria, which we have talked too much little about it, and we are going to learn about that also in our next time in our this video. Spouse Sarah Fricker, then children's are like Hartley Coleridge, Berkey Coleridge, Sarah Coleridge and Derwent Coleridge. Now see, throughout his life, his adult life, Coleridge had crippling bouts of anxiety and depression. It has been speculated that he had bipolar disorder, and which of the result of his physical unhealthy, which may have stemmed from a bout of rheumatic fever and the other childhood illness. He was treated for these conditions with laudanum, which fostered a lifelong opium addiction. Then his notable works are like The Rime of the Ancient, Mariner, Christabel, Biographia Literaria, then Kubla Khan, then Frost at Midnight, Dejection and Ode, Lyrical Ballads, and On the Constitution of the Church and State. Then see, we are going to learn about the Biographia Literaria, because it is an important work written by the S.T. Coleridge or Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And in this Biographia Literaria, it full of Biographia Literaria, or it is called as Biographia Sketches of my literature, literary life and opinion. In that, this work is published in 2 volumes in 1817, and another edition of the work, to which Coleridge's daughter Sarah appended notes and supplementary of biographical material, was published in 1847. In this Biographia Literaria, Coleridge makes a distinction between fancy and imagination. He had a distinction between fancy and imagination. You can see and understand also, it is a two themes written, distinction between fancy and imagination. Fancy for Coleridge is a lower faculty, and that is concerned with mechanical operation of the mind, such as passive accumulation of data and storage of such data in the memory, and imagination on the other hand extract hidden ideas. Yes, it is true when imagination is hidden ideas and meaning from such data and is a creative power. According to Coleridge, fancy has no other contours to play with but fixed like definites. The fancy is indeed no other than a mode of memory emancipated from the order of time and space, blended with and modified by the empirical phenomenon of the will, which we express by the word choice. Fancy brings together images, and even when brought together, they continue to retain their individual properties. Then what happened? He then further divides imagination in 2 kinds, like primary and secondary. In primary, what happened? In primary, imagination is defined as the living powers of prime agents of all human perception, whereas the secondary imagination is an echo of an former, dissolves, diffuse, dissipates. In order to recreate, secondary imagination represented a superior faculty which could only be associated with artistic genius. The primary imagination is merely the power of receiving impressions and possessed by everyone, and the secondary imagination is work upon what is perceived by the primary imagination, and its raw material is the sensational and impression supplied to the primary imagination. Now we are going to learn about his next work, that is Kubla Khan, and this Kubla Khan is full of Kubla Khan or Vision in Dream. It is also called as in Vision in Dream, and it is also subtitled Vision of Dream in that way also. A fragment and according to like Coleridge prefers to Kubla Khan, he was living in ill health during the summer of 1797. He is writing this poem in the 1797 in a lonely farmhouse between Porlock and Linton and the Exmoor confines of Somers and Devonshire. Having taken an anidone, he fell asleep immediately upon reading a 17th century travel book by Samuel. In this, he is giving his imagination about he was reading a book, and after that immediately he fall asleep. And in the 17th century, what happened? He is telling about that in 17th century. Then see, in that, what happened after that? Then in 17th century traveled a book by Samuel, and then purchase pilgrimage. The work describes Xanadu, the summer palace of the Mongol ruler. Summer palace of the Mongol ruler. See, Mongol, Mongol ruler. Then an emperor of China, Kubla Khan, while sleeping for 3 hours. He was sleeping for 3 hours. Coleridge encompasses 200 to 300 lines, if that indeed can be called as composition, that is called as composition, in which all images rose up before him as things with a parallel production of correspondent expression without any sensational and conscious effort upon waking. He set up writing lines in a poetry, came to him like form of the dream until he was interrupted by a person of Porlock, like the person of Porlock. Returning to the poem, and Coleridge could recall only some 8 to 10 scattered lines to images. He only recalled 8 to 10 scattered line of images. Coleridge poem describes Xanadu, the palace of Kubla Khan, a Mongol emperor, in which he is giving about the Mongol emperor, and the poem speaker starts by describing a setting of the emperor palace. His palace he is describing about that, which he called as pleasure of dome. In his palace he is called as pleasure of dome. You have to remember this one because the questions ask pleasure of dome. Then pleasure of dome. In contrast to the structured dome and its garden, the landscape surrounding Kubla domains is wild and untamed, covered by ancient forest and cut the majestic river. In the latter part of the poem, speaker talks about another vision of his woman calling to her Diomenitic lover. What is it called as? Diomenitic lover. Then what happened? The speaker believes that her song was transport him to a dream world in which he could build that dome in air and in which he can drink the milk of paradise. He can drink the milk of paradise. John Spencer Hill states that Kubla is a poem about poetry. He states about the Kubla poem, and Kubla poem as a poetry and poetic process. Under this reading, Kubla Khan, who causes a pleasure dome, I already told you about that dome, pleasure dome, an elaborated garden to be constructed in Xanadu, is a type of artist whose glorious creation as the ancestral voice from the deep converse swan and in precariously balanced reconciliation. What happened? Reconciliation of the natural and artificial birth of Sacred River, and its passage through the garden of Kubla Khan symbolizes the sudden eruption of the subconscious into the realm of conscious mind and its eventual inevitable recession back into the deep well of the unconscious. In this way we learn about that. Then Kubla Khan line started with the poem like, in Xanadu did Kubla Khan stately pleasure dome decree, where out the sacred river ran through cavern measureless to man down to sunny sea. You have to remember this one. Question will be asked like which poem start with this line, and these lines are given and you have to identify that these lines are from Kubla Khan and written by the S.T. Coleridge. Then and concludes with the wave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dream, for he on honey drew, hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise. In this way, we have learned about Kubla Khan. In our next video, we are going to learn about Robert Southey and his notable work in the English literature. So, if you want to see that video, you have to subscribe our channel so that whenever video will be published in our channel, you will get notification and you can access our playlist also. Till then, see you soon. Bye.